feet of the Master. Good conduct. The 6 points of conduct which are specially required or given by the Master says, self-control as to the mind, self-control in action, tolerance, cheerfulness, one-pointedness, confidence. Self-control as to the mind. The qualification of desirelessness shows that the astral body must be controlled. This shows that same thing is to the mental body. It means control of temper so that you may feel no anger or impatience of the mind itself, so that the thought may always be calm and unruffled, and of the nerves, so that they may be as little irritable as possible. The calm mind means also courage, so that you may face without fear the trials and difficulties of the path. The calm mind means also steadiness, so that you may make light of the troubles which come into everyone's life and avoid the incessant worry over little things in which many people spend most of their time. The Master teaches that it does not matter in the least what happens to a man from the outside. Sorrows, troubles, sickness, losses, all these must be nothing to him and must not be allowed to affect the calmness of the mind. They are the result of past actions, and when they come, you must bear them cheerfully. What happens to a man from the outside? Sorrows, troubles, sickness, losses, all these belong to your previous lives, not to this. You cannot alter them. Think rather of what you are doing now, which will make the events of your next life. For that you can alter. Never allow yourself to feel sad or depressed. Depression is wrong because it infects others and makes their lives harder, which you have no right to do. Therefore, if ever it comes to you, throw it off at once. Use your thought power every day for good purposes. Be a force in the direction of evolution. Think each day of someone whom you know to be in sorrow or suffering or in need of help, and pour out loving thought upon him. Hold back your mind from pride, for pride comes only from ignorance. The man who does not know thinks that he is great, that he has done this or done that great thing. The wise man knows that only God is great, that all good work is done by God alone. Self-control in action. If your thought is what it should be, you will have little trouble with your action. Yet remember that to be useful to mankind, thought must result in action. There must be no laziness, but constant activity in good work. Leave every man to do his own work in his own way. Be always ready to offer help where it is needed, but never interfere. Because you try to take up higher work, you must not forget your own ordinary duties. For until they are done, you are not free for other service. Tolerance. You must feel perfect tolerance for all, and a hearty interest in the beliefs of those of another religion, just as much as your own. For the religion is a path to the highest, just as yours is. And to help all, you must understand all. But in order to gain this perfect tolerance, you must yourself first be free from bigotry and superstition. You must learn that no ceremonies are necessary. Else you will think yourself somehow better than those who do not perform them. Yet you must not condemn others who still cling to the ceremonies. Let them do as they will. Only they must not interfere with you who know the truth. They must not try to force upon you that which you have outgrown. Make allowance for everything. Be kindly towards everything. Now that your eyes are open, some of your old beliefs, your old ceremonies may seem to you absurd. Perhaps indeed they really are so. Yet, though you can no longer take part in them, respect them for the sake of those good souls to whom they are still important. They have their own place. They have their use. They are like those double lines which guided you as a child to write straight and evenly until you learn to write far better and more freely without them. There was a time when you needed them, but now the time is past. Cheerfulness. You must bear your karma cheerfully, whatever it may be, taking it as an honor that suffering comes to you, because it shows that the lords of karma think you worth helping. Yet another point, you must give up all feeling of possession. Karma may take from you the things which you like best, even the people whom you love most. Even then, you must be cheerful, ready to part with anything and everything. One-pointedness. Nothing else can come in your way. For all helpful, unselfish work is the master's work. And you must give all your attention to each piece of as you do it, so that it may be your very best. Think how you would do a piece of work if you knew that the master was coming at once to look at it. Just in that way you must do all your work. One-pointedness means, too, that nothing shall ever turn you, even for a moment, from the path upon which you have entered. No temptations, no worldly pleasures, no worldly affections even must ever draw you aside. Confidence. You must trust your master. You must trust yourself. If you have seen the master, you will trust him to the uttermost through many lives and deaths. Unless there is a perfect trust, there cannot be the perfect flow of love and power. You must trust yourself. You, the real you are a spark of God's own fire. And God, who is Almighty, is in you. And because of that, there is nothing that you cannot do if you will. Love. Of all the qualifications, love is the most important, for it is strong enough in a man. It forces him to acquire all the rest. And all the rest without it would never be sufficient. To produce its result, this resolve must fill your whole nature, so as to leave no room for any other feeling. It is indeed the will to be one with God, not in order that you may escape from weariness and suffering, but in order that because of your deep love for Him, you may act with Him and as He does. Because He is love, you, if you would become one with Him, must be filled with perfect unselfishness and love also. In daily life, this means two things: that you shall be careful to do no hurt to any living thing. Second, that you shall always be watching for an opportunity to help. First, to do no hurt. Three sins there are which work more harm than all else in the world: gossip, cruelty, and superstition, because they are sins against love. See what gossip does. It begins with evil thought, and that in itself is a crime. For in everyone and in everything there is a good. In everyone and in everything there is evil. Either of these can be strengthened by thinking of it. And in this way we can help or hinder evolution. If you think of the evil in another, you are doing at the same time three wicked things. You are filling your neighborhood with evil thought instead of with good thought. And so you are adding to the sorrow of the world. Two, if there is in that man the evil which you think, you are strengthening it and feeding it. And so you are making your brother worse instead of better. Three, you fill your own mind with evil thoughts instead of good, and so you hinder your own growth. You must avoid altogether, never speak ill of anyone, refuse to listen when anyone else speaks ill of another. Then as to cruelty, this is of two kinds: intentional and unintentional. Intentional cruelty is purposely to give pain to another living being, and that is the greatest of all sins, the work of a devil rather than a man. The inquisitors did it. Many religious people did it in the name of their religion. All these people try to excuse their brutality by saying that it is the custom. Karma takes no account of custom, and then karma of cruelty is the most terrible of all. There is cruelty in speech as well as in act, and a man who says a word with the intention to wound another is guilty of this crime. Sometimes a careless word does as much harm as a malicious one. So you must be on guard against unintentional cruelty. It comes usually from thoughtlessness. A man is so filled with greed and avarice that he never even thinks of the suffering which he causes to others by paying too little or by starving his wife and children. Another thinks only of his own lust and cares little how many souls and bodies he ruins in satisfying it. So much suffering is caused just by one carelessness, by forgetting to think how an action will affect others. But karma never forgets, and it takes no account of the fact that men forget. Superstition is another mighty evil and has caused much terrible cruelty. The man who is slave to it despises others who are wiser, tries to force them to do as he does. Think of the awful slaughter produced by the superstition. Think of the treatment which superstition has melted out to the depressed classes in India. These three great crimes you must avoid, or they are fatal to all progress because they sin against love. But not only must you thus refrain from evil, you must be active in doing good. You must be so filled with the intense desire of service that you are even on the watch to render it to all around you, not to man alone, but even to plants and animals. You must render in it small things every day, that the habit may be formed, so that you may not miss the rare opportunity when the great thing offers itself to be done. For if you earn to be one with the God, it is not for you your own sake. It is that you may be a channel through which His love may flow to reach your fellow men. The wisdom which enables you to help, the will which directs the wisdom, the love which inspires the will. These are your qualifications. Will, wisdom and love are the three aspects of the Logos, and you who wish to enroll yourself to serve Him must show forth these aspects in the world.